You step on the ice and you feel that roar run through you, and you're ready to go.
The Western Conference Finals are here.
6 seconds, Helm scores!
The 20-year drought is over, and the Avs are ready to hit the ice for round 3.
We're live from Ball Arena with a preview of the first game against the Oilers.
It's going to be exciting. They got some world-class players there, two of the best in the game, and so do we.
It'll be a tough challenge, but it'll be a lot of fun.
And a teenage inmate now back in custody after stabbing a correctional officer and fleeing from police.
A lot of people really shaken up, but no one else was hurt.
And a one-on-one conversation with the interim police chief in Aurora, talking about his plans to increase accountability among officers.
I want to make sure that anybody that's deployed is having an impact on crime in Aurora.
And good evening, and thank you for joining us for Denver 7 News at 5. I'm Ann Trujillo.
And I'm Tom Mustin. Glad to have you with us. First off, we want to talk about this rain that'll be sticking around through the morning and also some fresh snow we're seeing in the mountains. Let's check in now with Chief Meteorologist Mike Nelson.
And so, Mike, we know the Rockies have canceled tonight's game because of the storms and will instead have a doubleheader tomorrow. Luckily, the Avs play indoors.
It was a smart move by the Rockies because it's not very pleasant outside. This is the view currently from City Park. The rain continues to come in. It will do so for much of the night tonight, and it is cold out there. It does feel a lot more like hockey weather than baseball weather. 49 degrees in Denver at the top of the hour. That's the rain expanding in coverage across northeast Colorado. It's going to be a good soaker for the mountains, and we'll get some decent snow in the high country with a winter weather advisory, 3 to 6 inches there. For the eastern plains, the farmers and ranchers will enjoy 1/4 to 3/4 of an inch of rain, as we will right here in the metro. Not much in the way of any thunderstorm activity. It's too cold. So our headlines for tonight, it's going to be a good soaker. Snow for the mountains. Wet weather ends tomorrow by midday, and warmer and drier weather for the end of the week. Your full 7-day forecast coming up in about 20 minutes.
We need that rain. Thank you, Mike. Well, the search is over for a 17-year-old inmate who allegedly stabbed a correctional officer while at a dentist's office in Lakeside. That officer will be okay. And it took police about 4 hours to eventually track down the suspect.
Denver 7's Patrick Perez has been working this story all day long. And Patrick, police found the teen in the garage of a home that was just minutes away from that dentist's office.
Yeah, and that garage is right behind that wooden fence over there. This is on 43rd and Eaton, I should say. And police are thanking an officer for his good hunt for helping to locate that teenager. An hours-long search for a 17-year-old inmate who escaped from custody Tuesday morning ended in the back of this Mountain View home.
It was a long day. A lot of people put in a lot of effort.
The search began about 8:45 after the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office says Juan Oseguera stabbed a correctional officer with a knife inside this dental office in Lakeside during a procedure. A picture an employee shared with Denver 7 shows a teen holding the knife before the stabbing.
My understanding, this was not a utensil that was used by the dental facility. We don't know how he got it.
The teen escaped through the back of this facility with shackles still on his feet. Immediately, multiple agencies started looking for him, both in the air and on the ground, inspecting yards and alleys, hoping to find any sign of him.
Anytime you assault a police officer or a security officer, you're going to get quite a response.
And it was his own officer, Mountain View Police Chief Steve Davis says, who helped find Oseguera hiding in a garage of this home off 43rd and Eaton. The homeowner was not home at the time. Video taken by a neighbor shows the moments following the arrest.
He had a good hunch that the suspect didn't make it past 43rd Street. And he told me, he said, "Chief, I think he's in the alley here." And I said, "We'll just wait until the dog gets down there." And, they had grid searches to do. And once the dog got there, he was right on the money on that. The suspect was, in fact, hiding right where he thought he was.
The teen gave up without putting up a fight, Davis says, and was still wearing the shackles when they found him nearly 5 hours later. He has a message for anyone who tries to pull a similar stunt.
We will find you and we will arrest you.
And some good news. The Colorado Department of Human Services tells me that correctional officer was released from the hospital earlier today. Court records show that teen was being held at a youth facility in Greeley on charges including assault, but that will likely change after everything that's happened today. Ann?
Yeah, glad this was resolved. Thank you, Patrick. Today, an Arapahoe County judge dismissed all charges against Broncos wide receiver Jerry Jeudy. Earlier this morning, the DA's office filed a motion to dismiss the charges against Jeudy, who was arrested earlier this month on a misdemeanor domestic violence charge. Police say Jeudy locked the mother of his child's wallet, baby formula, and the infant's medical paperwork in his car after he said she took his phone and wouldn't give it back. That woman did ask the judge for the charges to be dropped. Jeudy was back at practice this morning with the rest of the Broncos team for OTAs.
Well, the city of Aurora has a new interim police chief.
Dan Oates, who led the police department from 2005, I should say, to 2015, officially took over last week, and Denver 7 investigative reporter Jennifer Kovaleski sat down with Oates today.
And Jen, City Manager Jim Twombly says Oates can help shape the transformation of the department, which has faced a lot of controversy lately.
Tom and Ann, Aurora's interim police chief is ready to get to work. Oates told me he has 3 priorities: reducing crime, partnering with the community to solve problems, and operating an efficient organization. These are all priorities his predecessors have also struggled with.
This is our best effort as a department to provide as much transparency as possible.
That was 16 years ago.
I am confident that this police department will do everything within its power to resolve this case.
Nearly a decade since leaving Aurora, Dan Oates is back as the city's interim police chief.
It's a bit surreal.
Why did you agree to take this job?
Because I love the city and I love the department, and if I can help out, I want to help out.
Oates is once again taking over an embattled police department. His arrival comes more than a month after the contentious firing of former police chief Vanessa Wilson.
There should not be partisan politics in public safety.
She was not fired for cause. She was fired as an at-will employee.
Your thoughts on everything that happened with Chief Wilson, and how do you move forward from that?
I'm not in a position to evaluate the details of what happened with Chief Wilson. I will tell you that her departure left a leadership vacuum, which I am here to fill.
A vacuum Chief Oates says he plans to fill with accessibility and transparency.
Being there, being out with the cops, those kinds of things create, I think, a morale boost.
On top of morale issues, the Aurora Police Department is under a consent decree after an AG investigation found racially biased policing and excessive use of force, something that has not helped the department with its struggles to hire and keep good officers.
A lot of angst over how the department's reputation has been damaged by recent events, and a willingness on the part of everybody here to get beyond that and sort of get back to work.
Oates is also taking over amid controversies surrounding a massive records backlog, with at one time more than 2,500 cases stuck in a queue, delaying investigations. How do you plan to tackle the records backlog, and how would you describe that issue?
I'm fairly confident that that issue has largely been resolved, and we've essentially gotten back to where we're supposed to be with regard to the records situation and the categorizing of crime reports.
Oates says a major priority is reducing crime, specifically the city's auto theft problem.
And more common, auto theft is being tied to other acts of violence. So if we can tackle the auto theft problem here, and there's a clamoring in the community to do something about it, that might be something that can be helpful.
Aurora recently pulled its officers from the statewide auto theft task force. Oates says he has no plans to add those officers back. Instead, he wants his officers to focus their attention on Aurora's auto theft problems before turning any attention to the rest of the state. Tom?
Boy, he has a big job ahead. Thank you, Jen. Oates will help Aurora find its new permanent chief. The department says it hopes to find the new police chief by the end of this year.
20 years Avalanche fans have waited. The day is finally here.
Yes, tonight the Avs begin the Western Conference Finals against the Edmonton Oilers at Ball Arena. And Nick Rothschild was the lucky reporter chosen to cover Game 1.
All right, Nick, the Avs are finally in the Western Conference Finals and ready to take down the next team just standing in their way of the Stanley Cup, right?
Oh, absolutely. They're halfway to their goal, but we have got an all-timer brewing for the Western Conference Finals. Think like Larry Bird versus Magic Johnson in the 80s, or Manning versus Brady in the playoffs. McDavid versus McKinnon proves to be one of the all-time best matchups, or could be one of the all-time best matchups we've seen in the hockey playoffs here. But of course, neither of the teams really want us to think about it that way, right? They want it to be Avalanche versus Oilers. But when you've got two of the best in the game battling on the ice, it's hard to see the forest for the trees.
I don't know. I mean, I think he's the best. I said it. Yeah, I think he's been the best for a little bit now, and I'm not really thinking about that a whole lot. Obviously, I see that stuff, but you know, that's to hopefully that gets more viewers and lowers escrow. But other than that, I don't care.
To see those guys go head-to-head will be awesome, and you know, Nate puts a lot of work in on his game, and so does Connor. There's a lot of similarities with how they prepare and how they go about kind of being the top of their game. So they're different, but they can be the same beast when they're both on their game.
Okay, I feel like that Bernie Sanders meme where he's holding the sign. I am once again asking for Mikko Rantanen to return to regular season form. The guy's just too good to be playing this off for the entire postseason. He is due for a big game. but the Big Moose sees things a little bit differently.
Everything I do is for the team, so we were getting pushed for the wins and get the wins. So I'm not thinking about that. This is the wrong time of the year to think about your personal stuff. So I'm just playing for the team and do everything I can to help them win or us win.
Okay, that's admirable, Mikko, but to beat a team with a top line of McDavid, Draisaitl, and Kane, we're going to need some Mikko. That's just a fact. We shall see if Game 1 proves to be Moose country here, Ann. And I'm saying this is an Avalanche victory in Game 1, 5-2.
All right.
That's my prediction.
I like it. But you're right. There are some great hockey players on
Yes.
that ice tonight. It'll be fun to watch. Thanks, Nick.
Thanks, Nick.
They can now go to soccer practice, go to softball practice, go grocery shopping.
An Afghan interpreter who fought alongside American troops is now rebuilding his life here in Colorado.
I'm very proud of the community that we are in. Like, we never felt an outsider.
How your Denver 7 Gives donations are helping our new neighbors adjust to their new home.
Thank you so much.
Plus, Democrat and Republican lawmakers try to reach common ground on new gun safety laws.
I think that raising the age of gun purchase to 21 is a no-brainer.